just TikTok across the video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can take that video and copy it, but for all the videos that I've done, if I take one and I save it and it doesn't say that shit, and I
You can
post
just
it,
post it.
right, same video, doesn't matter. I can
Nice.
take that video and it's $35 right out of the gate from Instagram.
Now, do
And
they incentivize, like, how do you make more money? Like, if it gets more views, do you get more money?
I don't know.
Or
They have
right now,
they
is
have a
it,
policy on that, and I haven't read it, but I know that the max is $35, and like my shit ain't great, but
yeah.
like every one that I've posted is $35. So I think it's them. I think it's them going after TikTok and trying to whip some ass. All right,
I'd
six.
imagine so.
Yeah. So we might be live. We're gonna find out real quick.
It's
I
it,
got Josiah Eller here. If this is gonna work, we've been having some technical
it's lagging a
difficulties.
little bit, but
Yeah, you know, you have that on the big jobs. Yeah, we're good, man. Yeah, it looks like we're good. But anyway, so I got Josiah Eller here. We're gonna talk some politics tonight, and pre-gaming, I guess.
well, we've been pre-gaming for a little while, so
All right, if you guys have any questions on any type of politics, take your pick. This dude is the pro at this, and of all people, I would want him to see the comments. So I hope that they don't come in too late. I hope they come in while he's here because I now have this fancy screen and we can read them right here.
ooh, no
Yeah,
comments yet.
yeah, none yet. So if you guys are here, comment, say some cool shit, piss him off. I want to hear him holler before
Do
the
it.
end of the night. If you're not pissed and screaming, I'm gonna be shutting this off. So where do we start? Where are we going?
You know, we talked earlier
Mm-hmm.
that I mean the elections are I think they're I mean maybe I think on the West Coast they're still going on.
Yeah, probably
Um,
so.
so it's not like, and I don't even want to like. I mean, I'm sure you got people on both sides of the political aisle. So my thing was, I even said this: if you're a Democrat and you believe in Democrat policies, then fucking vote Democrat.
Right.
And that's what you should do. That's what my dad does. My dad and I don't see eye to eye with politics, but that's fine. He believes in that. That's what he should vote for. So I was trying to think of. I want people to be more informed because I mean
Right.
I literally like I was voting today.
Yeah.
And this lady behind me was like, I don't even know who's running. Why the fuck are you even there? Like, my thought was, why are you even fucking there if you don't even know who's running?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And so I think, and I get it. I mean, we're always told to vote, but we're not really told to be as informed as we should be. And I think now with like Joe Rogan and like
Yeah.
you get the long form podcast where you people can actually throw out some real content. So all I was thinking was if you're going to have me on, like rather than giving my spiel about how I want to vote or how I want you to vote, I just want to give people like a way to figure out how to look through the bullshit because politics is an ugly game. It always has been. Like
Yeah.
when
Right.
people say stuff like, "Oh, if we could just go back to like the old days." Fuck the old day. Like
It was
when
worse.
I mean, Jefferson and Adams were like best friends, and like Adams suggested that Jefferson was a homosexual, and Jefferson was claimed that Adams was a madman. Like he would throw his wigs at like people that were trying to help him.
Yeah.
I mean, like politics has always been a dirty game.
Right.
So for us as spectators,
Yeah.
I thought maybe the best thing is just to look at how we can sift through the bullshit while we're trying to get educated on our politics.
Yeah.
Like rather than like if you and I disagree, rather than just saying, "Well, your guy's a fucking pedophile."
Right. Right. Yeah.
It's like rather
And
than
that's
just
like kind of the rat race game right now. Is like trying to take
and
digs at these other guys and make them look like assholes.
and it's always been the game, but it's our job as spectators to see through that. Like
Right.
just because you have an R or a D beside your name doesn't make what you say true.
Yeah. Exactly. I made a post
So
today for those of you guys that are watching this. If you're on Facebook or whatever, on Facebook, I made this post and I said, if you guys are gonna vote straight ticket, don't don't waste your time because half the people understand the game. Like if you're gonna run in Indiana, you're gonna run as a Republican. If
pretty much,
yeah, like if you want to win, I would say, but Yeah, I'm sure there's
Well, unless you're
caveats to that, but
Indy, Fort Wayne, Evansville.
yeah, right,
Like,
yeah,
but yeah, if you're Warren or Fountain County,
right,
yeah,
yeah,
pretty
it's
much.
right. Like you're gonna pick that, and that's cool, whatever. But I wish that I really wish that they would just pull the R, pull the D, pull the D. But
You
no,
pull my D.
jeez. Hell yeah, give it here. No, like I wish that if there wasn't a straight ticket option, people wouldn't be able to vote. Half the people they don't do any research. They go in, they push the button, Republican, Democrat, and they leave, and that's it. And
I guess I will say this. I do think it's just in our nature to define what we are.
right. I
But
understand.
but George Washington himself warned about a two-party system, and that's exactly what we have.
It sucks,
And
man. It
I mean,
fucking sucks.
I'm a registered libertarian. I actually give money to the Libertarian Party every month. My guys aren't going to win any races anytime soon, but we can't affect elections. Like
Yeah.
look what Rainwater did
Right.
last election. He
He
didn't
was gonna
win.
come on. He was gonna come on the podcast.
Oh, dude,
He really was.
I would have geeked out.
Yeah, he really was. I spoke to him. I spoke to some other guy that was dealing with his
Yeah.
like his campaign or whatever. That the guy I actually spoke to was on the ballot.
Yeah.
So you may know his. I can't remember the guy's name, but I was like, man, this would be a great opportunity. Not that my podcast is anything major, but it would be a great opportunity to at least inform some voters, whether on a big or small scale, of what it is that you want to do. And they don't, because people are lazy, right? So like you don't
Yes.
have to type this shit out and make them read it. And that was like one of the biggest things that I was really disappointed in. I shared this website. I said, hey, if you guys are going to vote straight ticket, don't look at this website. And it has all the candidates on there. And you can manually click through each thing, like, that's kind of like a popular topic of of discussion. And it shows where they stand. And it was like, dude, every Republican that was already in office, it was like, where do you stand on guns? Pro gun. Where do you stand on abortion? Pro life. And then you had the other guys that were like, trying. It was like, well, I'm a libertarian, and although I don't believe in abortion, I don't think it's great. I also don't believe that it's the government's job to
That's
you know,
generally the libertarian position.
right. And it was like, but this big thought out, very thoughtful thing. And you had the guy, I don't know, and maybe I read into it too much, but I felt like the guys
At
that
least
were
he was
typing
trying to
this shit out.
explain it a little bit better.
Yeah, it's like, come on, man, put a little effort into it. If you're gonna win, at least win it and like put half.
Well,
your ass
and not only
behind it.
that, like especially here's the other thing too. Like in today's election cycle, things move so fast, it's insane.
Right?
And people, dude, I can't stand Todd Young because he's the senator in Indiana that voted for red flag gun laws. Do you think for 5 fucking seconds that represents anyone in Indiana? A very small minority, and that is not how he's supposed to represent the majority of Hoosiers.
Right.
And instead, he cucked out. Well, and then more recently, he voted to ban abortion in our state. So Republican voters are the last thing they're going to remember is what he did for abortion, but they're going to forget that he doesn't give a shit about your gun rights.
Right.
And he should have to pay for that.
Yeah, and that's
I hate that.
it's terrible, dude. And I think that that's really the problem with, like I'm talking about with the straight ticket shit, is that guy puts on there that he's a Republican. It doesn't matter what he's voting for, and half the people that are voting don't even know about this shit.
Well,
they're just like, well, he's on my
right.
party.
Yeah, how many people even know the voting record or
Right.
of these people? And that's the kind of stuff. But I realize I consume myself with this stuff, and most
Yeah.
people are just concerned about like taking care of their kids, going to the fucking grocery store. I get that.
Yeah.
But at least like my goal for coming on today was when I was like, okay, what could I possibly do? Was like when you flip on the news and you see the media or the opposing candidate say something, let's look through that and start questioning rather than, oh, it's, we're going to, like, in COVID, it was popular to call guys like me a science denier.
Right.
Despite the fact that the person calling me a science denier can't figure out how many fucking genders there are, and you can't figure out basic biology, I'm a fucking science denier.
Right.
Or I'm an anti-vaxxer. It's like,
Oh yeah, you're one of them.
and it's like that the media loves to put these labels on people.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, by the way, who was the fucking science denier? Who fucking, like, I was right almost 100%. Like, my track record was way better than anyone in legacy media. Way fucking better. And now the Atlantic put out an article saying, oh, we need a COVID amnesty. Like, we may have been wrong and you may have been right, but let's not keep scrolling. Oh,
Yeah,
whoa,
we're
whoa,
done
whoa, whoa,
talking
whoa,
about it.
bitch. How about we do go back and check the scorecard? It's like, because if I would have been wrong, you'd have put me in a COVID gulag.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah, your
I
ass
was
gonna
like-
fight your way out, bud.
Yeah, it's like, fucking good luck. Here's no food, maybe some mucky water.
Yeah.
But I happen to be right. So like, oh, let's have an amnesty. So, I mean, the thing is, rather than having a term to demonize somebody, let's just at least try to look past that. Like, even if you disagree with somebody,
Right.
even if I disagree with, a policy that my dad's for, at least like with my dad kind of being opposite, it's a little easier for me because I don't want to view my dad as an enemy because he's not. He's my hero. Why the fuck would I want to see him as this like trash human being? Because he's not.
Right.
And really, when it's all said and done, I think we all essentially want the same things. But that's why it's politics, because it's about policy.
Right.
And it's like,
yeah.
we may disagree on how to get there. It's political theory, so you have to let these things play out.
Mm.
So, I mean, and I could give
Yeah.
you what my theories are, but at least, like, try to see through the bullshit of, like, oh, he's a science denier or whatever. Like, that's all I wanted to kind of come on and talk about a few of those terms and how they cut only one direction usually, or
Yeah. So I guess what it makes me think of too is like, unfortunately, I feel like now things are so polarized. I made a post, this has been years ago, but I won't forget it. And it was basically, we're not Republicans, we're not Democrats, we're not libertarians, we're Americans, right? So let's work together as a common thing and get shit done. And now I understand that there are different ways to get to a common goal. I'm well aware of that, but I don't think that we should cut people down if their direction is different than ours, right? Like,
Right.
I could get to my neighbor's house, I could go around the block, I could drive 50 miles away, I could drive right across the road. Right?
I saw fuck the Atlantic, no amnesty. Yeah, these people get it.
Yeah. Well, so I guess what I'm getting at is that it's like, man, there's different ways to get there, and just because your way is different than mine, I don't think that, it should be criticized, right? So, and there's pluses and minuses to every part. There's better ways to do things. There's pluses and minuses to all the shit. However, if you were saying something, I guess as an American, I feel like instead of being on two opposite teams, instead of cutting the other guy down and trying to erase you and get your opinion the fuck away from me, like, why can't we talk about this? Why can't? And I feel like now,
Well, that's
especially with this
where-
cancel culture bullshit,
Yeah.
it's like, man, they don't want to talk. You can't even have a conversation anymore. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to hear your shit. Get the fuck away from me. Instead of going to my neighbor's house.
That's
yeah.
what kind of Orwellian horseshit. Like, right now, and I was surprised, even legacy media, the gubernatorial race in Arizona, Kerry Lake, and I think Katie Hobbs is the name of the Democratic candidate. Kerry Lake was going to do a debate. Well, Katie Hobbs wouldn't do it. She would not, and said, "Oh, I won't." And even the legacy media was like, "Well, if you're right, why wouldn't you just debate her?"
Yeah.
And actually, it's funny. James O'Keefe from Project Veritas showed up to discuss something with Katie Hobbs. She literally got up and ran and locked herself in a bathroom.
Ain't doing
And
it.
it's not. It's just like, what could you possibly have to hide so much? Like, because like one of her staffers is actually like on hidden camera, like through Veritas,
Right, yeah.
saying like, well, I
Right.
know that you're not pro-life, but we need to play both sides of the odds. Like, if you're gonna lie to the people that you want to represent, like what kind of politics? Like, I know that's kind of politics, that's the game,
Yeah.
but like how shitty? Like if you're pro-choice, just fucking say it.
Right.
Like if you believe in it, say it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Hobbs is an idiot. Lake is incredible.
Yeah, I love Carrie Lake, by the way.
Let's see, we got it over here.
I do love. I think it's the same.
Because you're normal, Brandon. You are capable of critical thinking, unlike socialists out there. Yeah, that's you know what though. That's a really good point. So,
Critical thinking is what.
dude, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's out the fucking window.
By the way, not only that, so is curiosity.
Yeah, that's you know what. That's a
Those
great
two
thing.
things are gone.
And I don't want to interrupt you, but I will say this: that, dude, what I just can't wrap my head around this shit anymore. Is that like if you're telling me something, right, and you're telling me I'm a fucking idiot, and maybe maybe you're saying,
You are a fucking idiot.
right, yeah, you're right, I am a fucking idiot. But if you're telling me something, right, and you're telling me genuinely from the heart, right, if you're being an asshole, of course I'm gonna be like fuck you or whatever. But
I am an asshole.
yeah, well, fuck you then. So, but if you're genuinely telling me something and you're like, look, man, I think you really need to rethink your position on this, or like where you have come from isn't the majority, or whatever it is, but you're essentially telling me I'm wrong. I am willing. I'm like, I'm hoping that you're going to convince me
Yeah.
that I'm wrong, and I am okay to change, right? Like if I tell you this room's red, and you're like, Brandon, this room is not fucking red, man. It looks red right now because of the light in here. But just think about it for a minute. It's actually fucking, I don't know, yellow. I'm going to sit here for a minute, and I'm going to change the light bulb. And like, oh, shit, okay, well, the bulb I had in here was the wrong one. And he's right.
That's a piss poor example,
well,
but I get
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it is. But it's like, it's just like, man, and now I feel like more than ever, and I don't know if it's based on social media or what the issue is, but people just are not willing to accept that they're wrong, and they're ready to die on the hill. And they're like, "Fuck you! It's red. It's red."
Like
right
I
now.
want to interject because they on if anyone's seen the podcast with Matt Walsh and that when he was on Joe Rogan, they were kind of talking about that, and I think it really, when you have nothing to worship, and this is kind of a caveat that I believe people are created to worship, and people that don't hold, at least whether you're Christian or not, hold Western culture values like Judeo-Christian principles, you revert to worshiping the state. So what you worship is really, that is kind of who you are. Like that is the deepest part of who you are, and politics is who they are. Like literally the government's policies. Like me, it's like if my policy fails, fuck it, I'll find a new policy.
Right.
But I really, it especially affects people on the left that they worship the state, because when you don't have I believe in God, which is above government. So the government doesn't make right wrong for me. Like if the government decides to take away our guns and quell free speech, that doesn't change the fact that God gives me those rights. You know, my rights aren't granted from the government, but I had founders that at least protected those sacred rights, saying the government can't take them away. Although look where we're at now, so we're getting close.
Yeah. Well, I think I think a good analogy to that, and I heard this a long time ago, but it kind of stuck with me. And look, I got a lot of friends that are gay, and I'm not against it. If that's what you want to do, if that's who you are, that's who you are. But they were talking about how that persona of them, it like that whole thing that they embody is.
That didn't work out. I don't know if you just saw that. I was just trying to set up and then...
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so they were talking about being gay though, and how that becomes it becomes them, right? So when you're dead and buried, they're not going to put you in a hole and say, "Here lies Brandon Briles, the gayest of the gay." Like
they probably will say
they probably
that
will,
about
but
you.
no one's going to give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? like, and I'm not being like insincere about it.
No, I know
I
what you
mean that
mean.
that's not. I'm sorry. Like,
What's odd to me though about that whole thing is
I have a very like I
to
and
play.
like
I have gay friends too, but to play
no,
devil's
but I
advocate,
actually I have a couple like like people that are really dear friends of mine. Like
yeah,
somebody that I would find just as close as like as a brother.
it's your
or
boyfriend. I know.
it is. No, it's like, but it's like it's a real friend of mine. Like I've got a couple of them, and they're real friends. They're people I talk to on a daily basis, and they're my buddies. You know, they're the ones I make fun of, just like the next guy or whatever. But they're real people, and but like you know they're just not that way. But you know, and I don't know how their beliefs are in politics or whatever. But when you think about somebody that's like, well, I'm fucking gay and I'm gonna die on this hill, man, that's a shitty fucking hill to die on. Like, take that energy and go do something with it that betters humanity.
Well,
Fuck
I
what
will
it-
say too, like I think society in general, it's like gay is who you are, and it's like, look, I don't. It's not my business who anybody's fucking. So
Right.
it's not. I mean, I have gay friends. I mean, I have my personal beliefs because I am a Christian. However, it's also not my job to go around screaming at people for being gay either. They're my
Right.
friends. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's things I do that I don't agree with too.
Right.
And I don't yell at myself in the mirror.
Yeah.
But you know, that in particular, especially the left, has kind of made that there. This is who you are. It's like that's still again because the left can't see past the physical world because they're not spiritual at all. And and no one has to be. You know, I'm not telling everybody you have to believe what I believe, but like, so you're saying that all you are is like your sexuality, like because
That's exactly
like
what
me. Like
right.
I don't go around like thinking like, well, that's just who I am. I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm obviously a shitty guy because I can't find a woman that wants me. But having said that, I still look for women. But that's only part. Like, I'm a
Yeah.
father. I'm a son. Like, I
Yeah,
work. Like,
exactly.
there's so much more to people than just their sexuality. And I think the left sold the homosexual crowd that lock, stock, and barrel, and
Yeah.
they bought it because
Yeah.
the church fucked up and was just like, fuck you faggots, and like, and
Right.
it was just like, that's not how you should be, because
No. No, and I agree. Like, you know, yeah, they did get criticized and ridiculed and all this bad shit, you know, but everybody's had a fucking hard time and maybe that's just part of it. I don't know, you know. But I do agree that if you're going to base your whole life off of something like that, it's a terrible fucking like, you know, I don't just walk around and be like, "Man, I'm fucking straight," you know, and I don't base my whole life on that. And not
right,
that any of my close friends do that are gay, like they don't, you know, they don't flaunt that or say it or
right,
whatever, you know, it's not that way, but I feel like the media makes it out like if you're gay, you need to make sure you tell absolutely everybody. And I know people, I've seen it, right? I've been
right.
all over. I've fucking seen people that is their life and they want to show you and everybody else about it. And look, that's fine. If that's what you want to do, if that's your greatest achievement, good for you. But
Yeah,
you're not doing it, buddy. Like,
yeah, right.
do more, right? Do better, do more.
Hey, Peter Thiel's gay.
Good for him.
He's like a multi-billionaire.
Right on.
He's a
Good.
libertarian too. He did support
Yeah.
Trump though.
Yeah, well, I mean, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like, good for that guy. Rock on, man. But he's doing way more fucking shit than
Oh,
you.
dude.
Work
Oh,
harder.
yeah.
Work harder. I don't care who you are. Work harder.
Yeah, so I was gonna show you. So I've got a list of things that to try to think a little bit more critically, think a little bit past. See if
Great point. If you're confident in yourself, you don't need to flaunt who you are. It's exactly right. And that doesn't matter your sexual orientation, and none of that shit matters. It's like lead me by what you've done, right? If you've done some
Right.
kick-ass shit, show me and we'll go on that. Other than that, I don't want to hear it.
So like, I came up with like a list of things, and there's I'm sure there's more. Obviously, I'm more personally conservative, so a lot of this shit comes from like legacy media.
All right. Right.
So like just to try to look past things, and you can, even if someone watching is on the left, you can still apply this to Fox News or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they are the most popular network, so someone's watching Fox News. I mean, I never have, but like the first one was like the election denier thing.
Right.
Remember, because that became big after Like, remember last time you had me on?
Yeah.
Like, and what did I say? I called it, didn't I?
Yep.
I said Trump's going to whine and complain, and nothing's going to happen. Whether you agreed with that or not, I knew that was going to be the outcome.
It's true.
Now, here's the thing: did they ever call Hillary Clinton an election denier? Did they ever call Stacey Abrams an election denier? By the way, Stacey Abrams getting the shit beat out of her because she's running against the guy that beat her the first time. And she's like, I'm the rightful governor. And like still to this day, Democrats say she's like the real governor of Georgia. It's like, no, she's not. And yet, like, and by the way, Carrie Lake said this to reporters. Why is it only Republicans are election deniers? And by the way, you have every right to say you don't agree with how an election went.
That's the thing.
You have every right. Like, if you're going to tell me there wasn't some shady fucking shit going on in the last election,
Yeah.
you ain't looking. Because,
Right.
like, I went into it much slower than a lot of Republicans. I was like, all right, there was some crazy shit. Because I remember being up till 4 a.m. going, what do you mean, like, a water main busted? What do you mean, like, you're going to shut it down? Like, when the hell has this ever happened? And Trump was, like, in the lead. Then all of a sudden it was like, hey, we woke up and he lost.
Right.
And, you know, so I was like, well, that was kind of fucking weird. And, like, plus, I watch a lot of libertarian podcasts, and even they were like, yeah, we're not buying this for a second.
Right.
So they don't have anything to gain by saying Trump was right.
Yeah.
So, and then when I watched, like, the 2000 Mules, I was like, sold. Like, there was more than just shenanigans that went on.
Yeah.
And so it's my right as an American to disagree. And by the way, same as Hillary Clinton, same as Stacey Abrams.
Right.
But they only use these terms to like to smear people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, run their smear campaign.
The big thing is you got to look for character assassination. Like if you say Katie Hobbs sucks, why does she suck? Well, because it turns out she paid a black woman $30,000 less than the rest of her staff, and then when she questioned Katie Hobbs about it, Katie Hobbs fired the bitch. By the way, she lost in court. Why is that story not reported? Oh, is it because of the letter that's beside her name? I don't know, but I'm saying right now that if that happened in Trump's camp, you would have fucking.
Yeah, that's all.
It'd
you'd
still
heard
be
about.
on there,
right? That's all you'd heard about.
So if you hear election denier, like again, who cares? Like if you didn't. By the way, it doesn't matter who fucking wins. Every Republican that wins, the Democrats are going to say didn't win, and every Democrat that won, the Republicans are going to say didn't win.
Right.
That's where we're at right now.
Every time.
Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
I said before the elections last time, whoever wins, no one's going to agree with it.
Yep. Yep.
So,
and it seems to only be getting worse.
Yeah, it's not getting better. Science denier is a big one that was coming out. Like I mentioned, like I was a science denier, even though everything I cited was from the Israeli Health Ministry or like Dr. Peter McCullough or Dr. Robert Malone. Oh, we don't like those guys. Those are the guys that disagree with us.
Yeah.
And like, by the way, like, I don't know, like this is just something I remember like during, like right into like the heat of it, 2020, and people were protesting the lockdowns. We did it in Indiana. If you remember that, people were protesting at Holcomb's house or mansion or whatever.
I just had a guy on the podcast from China.
Oh, no shit.
That was there during all this shit.
Oh, wow.
And how different it was here.
Oh, I bet.
Very interesting shit. But yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. So, and then if you remember, the legacy media covered it as, oh, these people are going to spread COVID. They're going to be out there. Mm-hmm. You know, they need to be locked down in their house. And then when the BLM riots happened, I specifically remember an epidemiologist saying, well, this is different. And then someone said, well, why is it different? And she's like, I don't know. I can't explain why. It's because you're a partisan hack. Like, it's either dangerous to be out or it's not. Like, the virus doesn't take political affiliation. Oh, they're fighting for racial justice.
Yeah.
I was going to make everyone sick, but hell, I better back off. Like, or actually, I was there just because I wanted a free pair of J's at the Target.
Yeah.
Or, you know, well, they don't sell J's at
I
the
had
Target,
an
but you know what I
epidemiologist
mean.
on the podcast a couple times.
I do remember there was a lot of things. When I saw that, there was a lot of things I wanted to push back on.
Yeah, and at the time, you know, I didn't know enough about it. I mean, I still don't. I'm a fucking dummy. But it was like, hey, I want you to. Well, actually, it was funny. They contacted me. They're like, hey, we would like to come on your podcast. We would like to talk about this shit. I'm like, well, that's a fantastic idea. This is great. Like, it works for everybody. And you know what? This is actually something that I learned, and I take it very, like, I took that one very serious. So the doctor that was on was Dr. Sharma. For those of you that don't
I
know.
do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he came on. We actually did a couple different podcasts, and I will say one thing: that man is probably the most caring and thoughtful person
Yeah.
I have ever met for this community.
Yeah.
I would say it to him. I would say it to the next guy. Whatever. If you don't like him, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, hey, not everybody likes me. I got it. You know what?
I don't even like you.
Right. Fuck you. But no, it's like that guy was, you know, we sat down and just like me and you, just like everybody else that comes on here, I like to sit down and shoot the shit for a little bit and kind of loosen up, get to know one another.
Sure.
Obviously, I've known you my whole life, but this is my mom's doctor. My mom called me and she's like, I can't believe my doctor's coming on your podcast. Like, yeah, well, I can't believe it either, Mom. I don't know. But so we're sitting there and I'm like, hey, you know, what do you think about these kind of things? Like, I don't want to get too deep into this, just like I did with this. You know, like I don't want to go, I don't want to do two podcasts, right? So I don't want to sit here and do one away from the microphones and then come in and do the same thing here. But like what can you tell me off the air that like might change my mind? Is there anything? And the answer was no. And it was like, this is how I feel. And these are my studies. And the guy's fucking smart.
Yeah.
He's 10 times smarter than I'll ever be. He's forgot more shit than I'll ever remember.
Right.
And he's telling me these things, and it makes sense of like, and you know, I understand there's like, you know, word manipulation. Like he may have been stretching the truth. I don't know because I'm a fucking dummy. But I would say that how he had worded everything and the stories that he was telling me of like real life examples, he, based on what he believed, was doing the things that he felt were best for the people.
Well, and the thing is, you can take almost anything, any circumstantial evidence. Like, for instance, I was talking to a girl I used to date, and I said, I just don't think that America is racist like it used to be 60, 70 years ago. And so her example was, well, I know this guy who has a mixed daughter and someone called her the N-word. And I was like, okay, that's circumstantial evidence. Like, just because that happened doesn't mean as a whole this country is racist.
Right.
I don't even think that, like, that there's actually been more racial hoaxes than there have been actual racist events. And so I'm just like, okay, that's not good evidence. I mean, for me, the whole COVID thing for me, dude, I already knew by April 2020, I called it. I called it in April. I said, because they were like, oh my gosh, look at Italy. Italy just got ravaged. The average age of death was like 81.
Right.
And it was like, wait a minute, I'm not 81.
Yeah.
Most people aren't 81 because that's like the end of your life at that point.
Yep.
So I was already skeptical. And then, of course, it was like the death count. Then when that really started slowing down, like, hey, look, the cases count. Yeah. And it was like, okay, they're just trying to scare us.
Right.
And it's like, yes, it's real, but it's like, dude, I've had the flu worse. I had COVID twice. I've had some flus that were far worse than what COVID was.
All the traveling.
No shit. Good for you.
All the shit that I never got it. I'm fucking disgusting. I don't wash my hands.
Dude, they probably tried to get in you was like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah, dude, I've been eating paint chips since I was a kid. Fuck you guys.
Yeah, so, you know, there's just a lot of things. Like the Israeli health ministry, because they have socialized medicine for an entire country.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, they were pro-vaccine. They were like, we want everyone. Oh, yeah. Right. Israel was like, we want everybody to get the vaccine. They were like at a 90% rate. Yet, from the get-go, they were like, natural immunity is far better than getting the jab.
Well, of course.
And so not only was Israel pro-vaccine, they were honest about their studies.
Right, of course.
It was like 14 times better, at like 28 times. And of course, then you could see like as people started getting vaccinated, like after 6 months, the efficacy was like dropping like a plane turning its engine off in the sky. I mean, it was crazy. So it's just like there was nothing science denying about it. I was quoting the science. Now, I don't understand a lot of science, but I'm smart enough that I can read and I can retain the information.
Yep.
So what do we got here? Forget, what does that say? Oh, you got to get that 18th booster coming up.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I never did get it.
Yeah, I didn't
I
either.
thought I was gonna have to. So we go to Ireland. Ireland is like the one fucking place at the time in the world that
Because weren't you going to go to like Greece or Italy or
we were
something?
going to Italy, and
Yeah.
you could not go to Italy without it. We're like, all right, and it's not even I'm against it. Like, I don't
Don't want to be forced.
not even that. I mean, well, kind of, yeah. Like, I don't like being told what to do, but like, I don't fucking like shots, man. I don't want to get the shit, and I don't want to fuck with it.
What does it say? Time for Tucker Carlson. Great listener. Hey, I'm better than Tucker. You know Tucker. I like Tucker because he's anti-war.
Yeah.
But what I don't like about Tucker, he actually is not a free market guy. He's not
Really?
fully free market. He was
Tell
on
him.
Ben
I gotta
Shapiro's. Yeah, he was actually on Shapiro's Sunday Conversation, and he tried to make the case that the government should come in and help out. Yeah, I was just like, I'm not your fucking guinea pig. So, I guess another one of those. Speaking of like free market, trickle down economics. How many fucking people have tried to talk about trickle down economics? So I'm going to quote the fucking economist, even though he's like 185 years old and probably not going to live much longer. Thomas Sowell. I have two different quotes from Thomas Sowell about trickle down economics. The trickle down theory cannot be found in even the most voluminous scholarly studies of economic theory. The time is long overdue for people to ask themselves why it is necessary for those on the left to make up a lie if what they believe is true. I guess I didn't write the second one down, but the second one, he's got a video on YouTube if you want to look it up, where he basically says that you'll never find an economist outside of an insane asylum talking about trickle down economics. And like, so anytime you hear any Democrat talk about trickle down, it's not an economic theory, and it never has been. It has been like, and I don't know when this started. I think it was sometime around the Reagan era, where they take capitalism and turn it into something it's not, and then try to downplay it because socialism doesn't actually work anywhere. It never has, and it never will. So the best they can do is like call it something it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and that's the thing. Like, say, by the way, you're a gun guy. How many times have you heard assault weapon? Assault
yeah.
weapon. Like,
Yeah,
it's got to be this term that gets people's attention. It's
got to
like,
be a blanket thing.
if I hit you with a hammer, that's a fucking assault weapon.
Right, I got an
mean-
AR-15 in that closet, and
Good.
I'm not kidding.
I'm glad you do.
You're right, and like, but AR stands for assault rifle. No,
No, it sure doesn't.
No,
I'm
it
pretty
doesn't.
sure that's Armalite.
yeah, no, it doesn't. But that's fine, But people just, and it goes back to the same thing. They want to bend all their shit until it reaches I'mRight.com.
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know, when it reaches that, like, okay, well, we've got to our destination.
It's the same. By the way, how many people get called racist? Because that now it's been used so much, it's almost laughable. Because now it doesn't even mean the same thing anymore. Now it just means someone who disagrees with me politically.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you an example, and you tell me, no Tucker tonight. Oh, well, that's probably because of the elections.
Yeah. Dude, hey, I do want to pause this for a moment because I meant to say this earlier, and
I thought you were going to like plug like your dick pump that you just used or something.
BrandonBriles.com, buy some merch. No, it's actually right here. You can go there. No. So seriously though, people talk about fucking racism and all this shit. And you know what? I have talked to I would say several, maybe not a fucking lot, but people that want to say fucking shit's racist, I really think it's like the smallest minority trying to get the biggest fucking hurrah, right? Like the biggest applause. They're trying to get their shit. Everybody I've ever talked to that is actually of a minority, and you want to talk about like people being racist or whatever, they haven't experienced it. And like when you want to talk about me and traveling, right? I've been all over this fucking place, and it's just not an issue. And if it was, even when I talked to this guy in Florida one time, he's a black guy actually. We were talking about we get kind of heated or whatever, but the guy was a fucking pipe fitter, and so he was like, tough as fucking nails kind of
Yeah.
guy, and like cool and like, really worked and shit and fucking got after it. But we were talking about, racist and racism in America. He's like, man, he's like, I moved here from fucking, I can't remember where the fuck he came from, but he's like, I moved here. He's like, I'm as black as the fucking midnight sky, is what he was telling me. I'm like, well, I mean, that's, good for you, whatever. He's like, I've had nothing but opportunity here. He's like, I don't think I've ever been looked down upon my skin color or whatever. And he said something, and this has been on my mind for a long fucking time. But up to that point, I'd never said it publicly. And now I say it all the time. But he's like, even if he was racist, that's not the biggest problem we have.
Dude,
here.
And
I've fucking said it 100 times. Racism in America, let's say it's at your all-time high.
which is not at all.
But it's not. But we'll say
But
it is.
okay, let's give
We'll say it
to him,
is.
yeah.
Sure. Okay. I still don't think that's a big fucking problem.
By the
If
way,
somebody doesn't like me because I'm white, I could say this whole town doesn't, where I live.
yeah, right.
I could say the whole town doesn't like me because I'm white.
It doesn't
Fuck
make it
you-
true.
Fuck you. I mean,
No, that doesn't
even if
make
they-
it true.
It doesn't matter. Even if they do, even if my whole town does not like me because I'm white. Okay, fuck you guys. I will do something to where you will like me. I will prove myself. I can.
Well,
I
by the
will
way,
climb
that's
the fucking
what
ladder.
the blacks of the last generation did do.
It's exactly
But
right.
it's on. Like, there was a debate on this. Actually, I don't know why they do this shit on ESPN. Actually, I know why they do. Marcellus Wiley. I really like Marcellus Wiley, and I can't remember there's another black guy. They were kind of having this conversation, okay, and he said, Marcellus said, my dad had to struggle through all that. He said, I never have. He said, guys like my dad did that so I could stand on his shoulders and not walk the same walk. He's like, of course, I mean, we're never going to stop racism. I mean, now it's in vogue to be racist against white. Oh, fucking
Right.
stupid white guys. And it's like, oh yeah, imagine if I said fucking stupid black guy. Like,
Yeah, you're
it would
fucked.
be, then I'm fucked for life.
Right.
But if you say stupid white guy, it's totally in vogue. It's totally
yeah.
fine.
It's
And-
hip.
Yeah, it
actually.
is.
Yeah, you're good.
And it, and like, I'm not going to sit here and like, who gives a shit? Like, if you want to judge my argument based on my skin color, that only reveals your character. Like, I don't care.
Dude, so a good friend of mine, fucking Adam Calhoun,
Yeah.
he said this thing a long time ago. We were sitting at this fucking campfire, and he's like, I don't judge people on their color. I judge them on their character. And it's as simple as that may be.
I'm pretty sure that's what Martin Luther King said anyway. I want to be judged by the content of my character.
Yeah, it was. And I'm sure he probably took it from that. I've heard it since then.
And by the way, I don't know if you saw this. This was on. It was actually on CNN. Don Lemon, the black guy.
Oh, right,
he had
right.
on this because now that the Queen passed,
Yeah.
they had on this British lady, and he was like, "Don't you think it's time that the British Crown starts seeking reparations?" Oh, dude, she demolished him.
Oh.
She was like, "Absolutely. You know what we want to do is start from the source and need to go to Africa where the black people actually sold these people into slavery.
Right,
And we
right.
need to start like remembering a lot of the British Crown that went there and fought those things. There were 1,700 men that died, and like he had nothing to say, and it was just like boom, like it was the biggest mic drop moment I've ever seen on CNN. And it's like, look, you can give me examples of racism, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's shitty. Like, I'm not gonna
Right.
sit
It fucking
but I'm
sucks.
like you. It's like, I don't think when we have like an entire establishment that's like hiding pedophilia, like won't
Right.
release like Epstein's list.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's way worse to be a pedophile than a racist.
Yeah, I could think of 100 things. Bill Burr, you could wake me up from a drunken stupor. I could give you 9 better things to fuck with than racism. I'm sorry about it. Like, that's a fucking bummer, but like, I would much rather hear, and maybe it's because I'm not fucking a minority. I'm sorry to say, like, I'm a fucking straight white guy. I'm sorry, that's what I am. I don't know how else to tell you.
Well, but again,
that's me.
My argument, I've had, my arguments are not based on my skin color.
Right.
Weigh my arguments based on their merits, not
Yeah.
based, oh, well, you're a white guy that hasn't. It doesn't matter what I've experienced.
Right.
Every human being has experienced something different.
Yeah.
We all have a unique story.
Dude, so
whether you're white, black, Asian, Mexican, doesn't matter.
Yeah. For me, all right. So let's take me as an example. I think
comments that's starting to pause.
That's fine. It doesn't. Yeah, it's fine. We're good.
All right.
So you want to talk about me, right? Like, because that's all
I don't fucking want to talk.
That's
about
all
you
I
at
fucking
all.
know is me. And fuck you. But like, it's for me. I'm a fucking straight white guy. Like, I am as straightforward as they get. Right. You know what? I don't think that racism is the biggest problem that we face in America. I just don't. I think that, like you're saying, there's fucking pedophile rings. I feel like this
dude, the lack of family,
the big fucking war,
like the fact
it's like
that
gonna maybe wipe us the fuck
oh,
out.
dude,
I feel like that's a bigger issue.
I also think
I think that fucking tax spending and spending fucking money. Like Indiana.
How about just taxes?
Dude, we got fucking
like
$21 billion surplus in Indiana alone. Like, I think that's a pretty big fucking talk.
oh, dude,
I think
absolutely.
There's a lot of shit that's more important than.
How about the breakdown of the family in America?
Right,
like more people are growing up without fathers in the home.
You want to talk
That's
about
a way
black
bigger
people right
issue.
there? You want to talk about black people? That's it. So it's like 56 people.
Hey, let me bring up
56% of the black families don't have fathers. I think that's
dude.
a
How
more
about
concerning
let me
thing
bring
than
up
fucking than
yeah,
being racist.
Let me
or
bring
whatever.
up Larry Elder. And by the way, we're talking about this. So when people say this guy's a racist, there has to be some kind of. Well, how about this for race? So Larry Elder ran in the short election, I think, a year or so ago. He ran as a Republican against Gavin Newsom in California.
Yeah.
And it was only a 6-week out election. So he only had 6 weeks to campaign. Larry Elder did. By the way, Larry Elder's my favorite politician. He and I probably see closer on issues than probably anybody else I've ever seen. He's a black man. He has a great story. I've read one of his books. He's written a few books. Brilliant guy. Well, a woman in a gorilla suit threw a banana at him.
Hell yeah.
Now, did the media go ape shit over that? No, he's a Republican, so no. They didn't. And on the front page of the LA Times, picture of Larry Elder, and it said blackface of white supremacy.
I still think it's funny that the lady fucking threw a banana at him in a monkey outfit. I'd like to have seen that. I wish it was me.
Can you imagine? Like, it's almost like, hey, what should we write about the Republican? Fucking white supremacist.
Right.
He's black. Blackface of white supremacist. It's like it is the most boring argument at this point. Like,
right.
So Larry Elder. So what you're saying is all black people think the same,
right.
and if they don't, they're white supremacists.
Yeah.
That fucking seems racist to me.
Right.
Like, I don't care what. I mean,
but it's just so fucking stupid. I mean, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean?
One of my good black friends he's a libertarian like me. I mean, but so is he also a white supremacist?
It just I really think what it is. I think that it's people just trying to turn other people against one another.
Banana lady, the whole thing. Yeah.
It's just it's fucking silly. It really is. I think it's people trying to turn other people against one another for political gain or some type of monetary position, right? I'm gonna make money. I am gonna benefit from this, and I think that's all it is. I don't think they care.
No, sure, of course not.
Right? Like,
and do I? The thing is, do I think that the legacy media thinks that Candace Owens or Jason Whitlock or God rest the man's soul, Walter Williams? Do they think that any of these black people were actually white supremacists? Of course they don't.
No.
Now, the problem is that there are people dumb enough to believe this stuff, which is why, like, anytime it's character assassination, you should already put up a red flag and go, wait a minute.
Of course.
Are they giving evidence or are they just saying this?
So I learned this a long time ago, and it's a real fucking quick way to decipher the bullshit. So when I'm talking to you and I say I like, we'll just say fucking Donald Trump because he gets fucking hammered on all the time. You know what?
I don't know if you knew this. He's literally Hitler.
Right, he is. Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, no, I knew
anyway.
he was reincarnated, but no, so
No, not even reincarnated.
no, not reincarnated.
Literally Hitler.
Oh,
Yep.
Right. Hitler
That's right.
died, shaved the stash, put it on the head. Got it. So
they were built a little different. I don't know how that
right,
works.
yeah. But so what they were talking about though was that whenever you have somebody that's okay, but how about was basically how they put it. And so when I say that fucking Donald Trump did this, whether it's good or bad, right? So like, you know what? I think Donald Trump did a lot of good shit. I know that he was very divisive in some certain areas, but for the most part, I feel like as far as an economist, at the time, the economy was doing good for me. You know, my stocks and shit were up. Gas prices.
Well, yeah, he took the boot off the throat of the free market. The first thing he did was like deregulate the economy.
Things were good for me, but whenever you want to talk to somebody or debate them or whatever, and they have an opposing viewpoint, it's always how about or what about?
The what about is,
you know, and it's like, come on, man.
Well, you got to stay. Well,
and what sucks is when you watch, and this is a real shitter because I really like Fox News. Actually, like I really do. I
like Tucker because
I do too.
He does hold an anti-war
That's
position.
what I was wanting to go with.
That very few people in legacy media do.
I really like Tucker. Like I like watching him. I like fucking listening to what he has to say. Some of the shit, it's like, you know, whatever. But I really enjoy fucking watching and listening and trying to take in as much of the good stuff as I can and not worry so much about the shit that I seem to think that's kind of silly. But like in that, it's the same fucking thing though. It's that fucking what about, and or you know, come on, man. Like I don't give a fuck about what about Joe Biden or you know, if you watch CNN. Like I rarely watch CNN, honestly, and I
get clips of some of the podcasts I watch.
And I would watch it. Is what's sad is I really would. I don't care. I don't give a fuck about what news organization. I don't give a fuck. Tell me what I'm after. Tell me the truth, and I'll watch that. I don't give a fuck who it is. ABC, Fox, CNN. I don't give a fuck.
Let me roll with that. Give me the truth.
Right. So I guess what I'm getting at is that when I watch this shit, I want the truth. I don't want you to defend your fucking guy. I don't give a fuck about him. I don't want you to say, well, what about Donald Trump and him evading taxes for fuck? Dude, I'm trying to find out about this fucking war
I know, right?
in Ukraine. I want to know if fucking Russia's going to bomb. Okay, well, it looks like Russia's going to bomb Ukraine, and it's based upon Donald Trump. So back when he was president, he talked to Putin and dude, I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like,
hey, by the way, I mean,
fuck you.
Let's talk about I was going to bounce off the truth, but here's something a lot of people don't understand. Like, in an actual conversation, there was no name calling or anything. I don't understand how people can square this way. I don't know. I've not even talked to you about the war in Ukraine, but what I never understood is that it was too much to spend $20 billion on the security of our nation. But we spent over $80 billion for the security of a nation that we staged a coup in 2014, where you can go look up clips. I think it was, I can see the guy. So one of the late night shows had on some guy, and they were talking about how we got Zelensky in, and he's our guy, and he's more pro-West, and shouldn't Obama be spiking the football? Like, we did that. By the way, I was
just getting ready to bring that up. So
there have been no elections. They're not a democracy, folks.
So what you're talking about is a Saturday Night Live skit. And what they were talking about, and they predicted it.
Yeah.
This had been probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was if we wanted to disrupt that whole fucking thing, we would take Ukraine over here, disrupt Russia, and try to distract them. Look at this big shiny thing we got over here, and we're gonna take they call it their Batman and Robin. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, so it was we're gonna take their Batman, or well, we're gonna take their Robin, and Batman's over here, right? So we're gonna take your Robin, and we're gonna bring him over here while we distract Batman. Dude, it was this big fucking thing, and it's really disturbing to see it because when you go back and look at it now, it is exactly
What happened?
exactly what happened. So what they
Yeah.
said was like, okay, if we were them, we're gonna take, not your money, we're gonna take your people. We're gonna give them some freedoms, and we're gonna tell them all this. We're gonna juice them up. I think is
Yeah.
what they said, and they did it. They did it exactly like that.
Oh, let's also not forget that the sitting president's son was kind of sort of involved in all this
They
shit
had
too, which
mentioned the same.
it is not
fucking thing.
like super creepy at all. That
Dude,
that
they had
happened.
mentioned that shit, and it is so
And
fucked up.
So we staged a coup. We've held no election since, and now I don't agree with Putin invading a sovereign nation, but you can't fucking say it was unprovoked.
that was the thing
Like,
that they
you
were talking about.
cannot say it's unprovoked.
They-
Remember that we promised in 1990 we would not move NATO farther east than I can't remember.
It's Berlin.
and we have continued
Yeah.
to move NATO.
That's all we did was actually move it.
And it's like,
That was it.
I'm not saying that Putin's a good guy, and I'm not saying he was right, but I'm saying he was provoked as fuck.
That was a big thing that they were talking about. So what the media says, like they showcase it every time, an unprovoked attack, and then it'd be like next thing,
That's their
an
their
unprovoked
buzzword. Their
So,
unprovoked attack.
was it right? No, it was not fucking right. And you know what? It's sad.
It's
Dude,
kind of like,
it's sad as a motherfucker if you watch some of the legit
dude,
attacks.
it is.
It's fucking terrifying. It
And
really
dude,
is.
there's
It's
actually
fucking awful.
there is a small part of Ukraine that actually sides with Russia. That's
The southern point.
Yeah, everything is more nuanced than what the media wants you to believe it is. I mean, because I am engulfed in politics, I know this stuff. Like, I listen to Scott Horton, and I think it's antiwar.com.
Yep.
Like, I would suggest you read everything except Israel. He is so anti-Israel. I never understand how the only free nation in the area gets blamed for everything. But other than that, he's pretty spot on about all the wars.
So, let's see. I'm gonna pull this motherfucker up right now.
Now, here we go.
I want to know. So, let me see here.
But all this alcohol, and I think both of us are almost done.
I'm gonna wipe your ass out in a minute. Well, it's not pulling up on this fucking map. But so essentially, well, you would know better than I would, anyways.
What's that?
But so they wanted the part of Ukraine, I believe it was the southernmost part, to basically be a part of fucking Russia. And they said no, fuck you. Then eventually said, yeah, okay, you can have it. And it was a big issue or whatever, but I was just going off what you were saying before. But besides the point of that, it's like, man, you have these people that are really defending, I mean, to the death of what they want, right? So like they don't want to be a part of that. They don't want to be a part of Russia. They're just defending what they know, essentially.
Right.
And dude, getting fucking bombed out of nowhere.
Well, dude, this war would be over if we weren't sending billions and billions of dollars. And it's actually prolonging this on everybody.
Yes.
I mean, the Russian soldiers don't even want to be involved in this. I
Yeah.
mean, let's not forget that. I mean, yes, everybody has a choice,
Right.
but given the plight of history, I mean, pretty much everybody does what they're told.
It's fucking brutal, though.
Not
because
very
you
many
see these
people stand up against dictators. It just doesn't happen.
Well, of course, but I mean, you see these fucking people, and they're sitting there, and they're like, I mean, dude, some of the videos I've seen are fucking just. These are people, man.
Dude, that's the thing,
they're
is
getting
war
fucking bombed in
war
their
makes it
fucking coffee
easy
shop.
to dehumanize people. 'Cause
Yeah, but they're in their
like,
fucking Starbucks, right, or whatever the fuck they have. It's not Starbucks, but
Right.
they're in their fucking coffee shop selling their shit. There's a line of people, of 5, 6, 7 people, and a fucking bomb goes off, and all the shit falls off the walls.
Dude, it's awful.
And these fuckers drop down. Dude, it's terrible. I could, if that was here, like, it's not even. I wouldn't even say it's
Dude, these are
inhumane.
people with families. I mean, that's
They're
what
right.
people.
It's not fair, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not even humane. It's
Like, if you're gonna go to war, it had. I mean, it should. I'm not saying that it's never an option, but you really should do everything in your power to stop it.
yeah.
It is not a good thing.
Yeah, and so that's the thing I guess I'm getting at is like, when you want to, like, they have the Geneva Convention. It's like, okay, well, you're gonna have these fucking rules.
I
right?
can't even spell that. I don't know what that is.
All right, well, so they have these fucking rules, and they're like, you can't be doing this shit. You can't be killing civilians, essentially.
Right.
Don't fucking send out goddamn bombs until into the middle of the night in downtown Indy. Right? Like, we're gonna have a battlefield. We're gonna sort this out like men. Put your people here, and we'll figure it out.
Right.
Dude, they're bombing these fucking civilians. They are sending out.
Oh, dude.
Have you seen the fucking?
Here's what
I
asked.
believe it's.
Here's what I asked
think
the
it's
guy.
plutonium. They're sending these goddamn bombs out, dude, and it's fucking. It looks like a Roman candle, like a million of them, and it rains down this shit, and it burns down everybody's fucking buildings and kills these people.
Here's what I asked the guy, like on Twitter, and we obviously disagreed. We had a good exchange. Nobody called anybody names. I mean, although I don't know how you can claim that it was unprovoked after knowing all that. But what I said was, when was the last time an American intervention went well? When?
Right.
20 years in Afghanistan, nothing to show for it.
Nope.
They've got a lot more capable armory now. So, I mean, technically we lost. I mean, Kosovo maybe in 94, maybe. I mean, dude, we're talking how many interventions, and like, remember we had to I mean, I don't know, man. We were the ones that put Saddam in charge. Look at how that ended up.
Right. Yeah, and we did.
It's like we need. I mean, look at what's going on in our own country. We need to focus on here, not there.
Fix my fucking roads.
Yeah.
I am so tired of driving on fucking shitty roads. Fix shit here, man. I am so.
Hey, let me give you. There's a libertarian. I can't remember what position he was running for in New York. The guy had some. Larry Sharp, I think is the guy's name. Came up with some great free market solutions, because he's like, if corporations owned the roads, they wouldn't look like that. Because if it was Pepsi Avenue, you can bet your ass
it's gonna look nice.
that if it didn't look nice, Coke would let everybody know.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
Pepsi would fucking fix it.
It's terrible.
And by the way,
man.
that would be less money for us.
It's
better roads for us.
Right. It's fucking terrible. And
I mean, here's the thing: is people don't understand is the government is bad at essentially everything except killing people.
Yeah.
And we do too much of that.
Yep. Yeah, it's exactly right. And dude, I just had a good talk with a friend of mine a couple nights ago, and
they are good at stealing our money.
They're very
good at that.
They are very fucking good at that. You know what's fucked up though, is that so what I mentioned was like the only country I've ever been to that's not here is Ireland, and I was explaining how things work there, and it's much different in certain areas, but it's very, very similar in other areas. And when you go to Ireland, their roads are very nice.
Yeah.
But their climate is probably like, I'd say probably like southern Tennessee. They get some shitty weather, but it's minimal.
Mild, yeah.
It's very minimal at best. So I would say they have less maintenance on it. But anyway, their roads are fucking immaculate.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that I've seen any fucking blacktop spots in all of Ireland. And for those of you that don't know, Ireland is like the size of Indiana and part of Ohio.
Is it even that? Is it that big?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes about I'd say it probably takes 4 hours, 5 hours or so to go from the very top to down to like the
Okay.
south, and then maybe, you know, kind of come around or whatever. It's not very big, and they don't have stoplights there. They have some, but for the most part, it's all roundabouts. So what would take you fucking 10 hours here, you can get there. They're way more efficient, 100%.
It is a lot smaller with a lot less people, to be fair.
No, I would disagree on that.
Think so?
Dublin,
Okay.
yeah, oh yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Dublin, but
Sure.
we're a massive country.
I'm saying as far as Indiana goes, because I'm basically, you know, it upon where I live.
Okay.
So I would say it's very similar to the Midwest in how people act and their terrain and as far as their roads go, but it's really similar to like probably Indiana and Ohio.
Yeah.
And dude, I can go to Lafayette and there will be more stoplights in Lafayette than there are of all of Ireland.
Yeah.
It's all fucking, it's all roundabouts. It's even slower fucking cars, slower speed limits and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Dude, it's half the time. I could drive I
Okay.
could drive there from the very top to the very bottom in half the time it would take me to get here. Or you know, or wherever. It's odd. But anyways, those fucking guys, so we were talking about the political party of the United States and how it's, they call it, which those people are fucking 10 times smarter than most Americans as far as like United States history.
Oh, well.
Right. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
I mean, most people go to public schools, so that
right.
shouldn't shock you.
Yeah. So like they're talking about shit and I'm a fucking dummy. I'm no scholar, but like,
Well, that ain't no shit.
yeah, these fucking guys are talking about shit that I don't know a goddamn thing about. They're talking about how our politics are. They know our national anthem better than I do. You know, I mean, they stay on top of it. They're really sharp, and but all that beside the point. They have, I think it was 1,500 candidates for their. So what I was getting at, I guess, is that their political system is similar to ours.
Do they have like
they're
a
gonna vote.
parliamentary system there?
Yeah, so they're gonna vote, and one, you know, one person's gonna win it.
Yeah.
Instead of having a couple people, they have a fuckload of people.
There's advantages to parliamentary systems. There's also huge disadvantages.
Absolutely,
Like Justin Trudeau still being the Prime Minister of Canada, and he got like 31% of the vote but it's parliamentary, so he won.
So I don't know much about that, but
Well, Justin Trudeau's bad.
okay, all right, yeah, okay. So, but I mean, I was just talking to these guys, and it's like, man, it's so odd seeing such a small geological area with, like you said, there are far fewer people there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like Attica everywhere you go there.
Sure.
And with the exception of a few
I mean,
very populated cities, like Dublin or whatever, but
I will say this, that I'll make 2 points on this. Arguably the oldest government in the world is the United States. There's like a small island that I think there's just a small.
see, they were saying the opposite.
And their argument was
They were saying that the United States government is such a new thing.
it is new, but it's still the oldest standing government. Like France, like
fair
France
Right.
has gone through 17 governments or 16 or 17 governments since our war.
I understand. Right. I get what
Yes,
you're
it
saying.
is new,
Yes,
but
I
it has
understand.
outlasted. And then the second thing was, but even John Adams said of our Constitution that it was for a good and moral people.
That's
and we
true.
are no longer good or moral.
Yes, on
and
both
that's-
sides. Right.
And that's the biggest problem. So I like the American. I mean, I think we could have taken a little. I mean, we did take a lot of British law, but the only thing I wish we would have taken is, and some, I think 2 states do it, is the jury gets to ask questions, and I think that's smart. If I'm going to convict a guy,
Right.
and a lawyer doesn't do
I
his
wanna
job,
fucking-
I should have the ability to ask.
I got
"All
some
right,
shit I need to know."
there's some shit I'd like to know too.
Right.
But you know, no system is going to be perfect because it's just full of flawed men and women.
Yep.
I think we have a good system. I'll tell you, the biggest thing for me is like now that, of course, big news, Elon bought Twitter, right?
Holla.
And you know, it's amazing. Like his team found out very quickly that there was an entire team getting paid working with the United Nations
Yep.
to try to censor certain speech in America. Now, that's horseshit.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love about Elon is he fired all of them
Right.
immediately.
Fuck off. Yeah. Did you see the fucking meme he put?
Oh, what? Which one?
The
There's
one
a lot. The one when he first bought it that had the sink, and he said, "Let this sink in."
the sink in was pretty good, but they took a picture of Elon and fucking posted it and sent it to like all the people he wanted to fire.
Yeah,
And it was basically like, "Get out of the nest, you're free," or some shit like that. They sent different ones to each individual
yeah.
person they fired, and then at the very bottom, "You're fired," and like they were calling in thinking this has got to be a joke. He's like, "No, it's not a joke. You're fired. Get the fuck out of here."
Nice.
Like, I mean, dude, really?
Dude, he is such an ultimate troll. Like,
Yo,
I
yeah,
love
dude,
it.
he fucking
He
ripped
understands the game so
Right.
much better than most people do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like it actually really bugged me that Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan and
I hadn't seen that one yet.
dude,
I'm dying to see it.
I'm not sitting here saying that Zuckerberg is just concerned about his bottom dollar.
Mhm.
And like while I get that, and while it's easy for me to say that while I'm not the one raking in billions of dollars,
Right.
like he has to it comes with a great responsibility when you have a platform like that, and then you allow the government to start saying, well, we want, like, have you seen, like, Alex Bernstein actually won his case
No.
against I can't remember if it's Facebook or Twitter, because I think it was Twitter, and this is pre-Elon, where literally the federal government said, get him off your platform now.
Oh, like an Alex Jones.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is most these lawsuits fall apart, except his lawyer was smart enough to fight it and saying, no, we both signed a contract. You have to abide by this contract too.
Oh shit.
And the contract was, oh, you can't spread misinformation, but
Right.
what he said ended up being the truth.
I was just say I already see where this is going. Yep.
And by the way, that was one of the things is when someone says misinformation, that doesn't mean it's
that
not
it's that.
true. It's like,
Right.
I was talking to you earlier about the Project Veritas stuff. Like,
Yep.
dude, this guy is going to beat the New York Times in a lawsuit, and it won't make it. I mean, do you think the New York Times is going to put it in there?
Nope. Huffington. Nope.
I will say that this shocked me. That if I don't know if anyone is familiar with Michael Malice, but he's probably one of the smartest guys. He's got a new book coming out called The White Pill that I'm really looking forward to reading. He wrote The New Right, which is very good, talking about like the new conservative right wing.
Oh.
He came out with The Anarchist Handbook, which is just a conglomeration of all the anarchists making points against government.
Right.
Good stuff, by the way. Malice is brilliant. But Malice had O'Keefe on like within the last few days, I think. And O'Keefe said that it has gone to the state Supreme Court where he sued the New York Times. And by the way, for you to get a defamation when you're a prominent figure like that is a pretty big deal because you have to prove malice. Now, against me, it wouldn't make any difference because I'm a nobody. But when you're a public figure,
Sure.
and I don't know if I agree with that, but I'm just stating that's what the law is.
Right. Is what it is. Yep.
But even like the judge is like, whoa, this is taking it way too far.
Fuck. Right.
But their argument, the lawyers of the New York Times said, first of all, in court when they lost, they said, well, it's just our opinion. But you printed it as fact.
Right. I mean, yeah.
And by the way, he was banned off Facebook due to this article. So that's got a lot going on there. Well, the most recent, the lawyers in the pleading said that the words defamation and verifiable had no precise meaning readily available in the English language.
All right.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
Yeah. Right.
But that's where we're at.
Right.
That is a former newspaper.
Yeah.
Of course, and as I said to you, one of the guys at the New York Times on a hidden camera actually said we really fucked up with the O'Keefe story.
So I'll say this: I worked for a newspaper company.
Yeah.
It hadn't been that long ago. Probably 5-6 years ago. I actually did not work for them, but I was subcontracted in and doing some computer shit. But dude, they are so fucking, man, just so behind the times that it's not even funny. I mean, like, and maybe that's not all newspaper, I guess, but these fucking guys, they weren't allowed to look shit up on their computer. We ain't doing that. Yeah, I swear to God, yeah. Because they were so set in the ways of like newspapers, the way the fucking head honcho, right? He's like, no, you're not doing that. You're going to go to the fucking paper. And they had to fucking look up the paper to figure out. I'm like, dude. And I knew the guy. I knew him. I still know. I have his fucking phone number. And I told him, I was like, dude, that's this is your business.
Wow.
You know, I'm like trying to be respectful, but I'm like, it seems like an awfully silly thing to do.
Not only that, it's costing you because they could be doing it quicker.
I'm like, hey, buddy,
getting more things done.
I'm like, dude, why don't you? And I'm not even there. I'm not even looking at I'm not looking at the business aspect of it. I'm like, dude, of all fucking things, wouldn't you want to get to the bottom line, right? Like, not even. We're not trying to prove a point. Like, get to the bottom line of it and pass all your competition.
Well,
so if your competition takes fucking 3 days to get there because you're going through newspaper, fuck them. And I mean, in his defense, he had other newspapers that were doing kind of a similar thing because they're fucking idiots. But it's like, wouldn't you want to pass them and get on this goddamn thing called the internet? And
well, you'd think so.
You would think, but he was so stuck in the fucking ways of 99 of this internet shit is a fad and no one's going to buy it. I'm like, dude, these motherfuckers have been buying it for 20 fucking years, dude.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of the way if you're going to block it. But
that doesn't even make sense.
They end up going out of business. It was.
I can't imagine why.
No, right. It was a big fucking waste of time for that guy. Dude,
hey,
I'm
by
not
the way,
shitting
here's
and what's sad though is the guy was money, like real. He had real money, dude. He fucking lost it, lost a lot of it, and it was because he was stubborn. Like,
dude,
man.
this is just another reason why I hate the government. So, you know, here's a guy worth a lot of money. He makes a stupid decision. He had to pay for it.
Yep.
But when the government makes bad decisions, they just throw more of our money at it.
Wing it. Yeah.
And here's an example. So there we have two different governing, like one of the alphabet soup bodies, like I can't remember what the other one's called. The other one's called the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the BIA.
Yep.
And then there's another alphabet soup one we've got to. And we spend like $3 billion a year on these two alphabet soup, you know, government red tape bullshit for Native Americans,
right?
So that we can help them. You know what the Native Americans refer to the BIA as? What? Bossing Indians around.
There it is.
Like $3 billion a year. It's doing absolutely nothing. And this is what gets me is when people call libertarians extreme. It's like, no, I want to spend less of your money.
Extreme.
I want you to be able to maximize your freedom and less government. Like, as a matter of fact, no government for me.
Right.
But it's like, why are we spending $3 billion a year on these two organizations. Like if they were free market, they'd be out of business like a long time ago.
Long before this fucking conversation. Yeah. It's fucking stupid, man. It's terrible, and it fucking blows me away because no one's listening. It's a sad thing, like, and it's the same point I was trying to drive home to him on the newspaper thing. It's like, dude, I understand. I get where you're coming from, but no one's listening, and no one wants to be a part of it. Like,
yeah,
you're beating a fucking dead horse, and you've been doing it for 35 fucking years.
You've already tried to use the defibrillator to bring the horse back so you can still kick him.
It's just not working, buddy. Like, and I understand that, old habits die hard, but it died hard.
Yeah, but that's what's brilliant about the free market is it doesn't give a shit about your feelings on the old ways.
More competition.
It moves forward. It will always move forward.
And it will bust your fucking ass, and that's it. Either you're going to conform or you're not. And if you're not, you're fucking dead, and that's the end of it. Get out of the fucking way.
I mean, I just saw this video on Netflix, how when the guy first formed it, he didn't, like, it was him and another guy, and they had opposing views of what to do with it. And then the one guy left and left the other guy in charge, and he didn't want to be in charge. He's not a guy that wants to be a CEO. He's not a power play guy. He tried to sell Netflix to Blockbuster.
Oh.
And Blockbuster at the time was on top of the hill. And they were like, nah, we got this, dog. We don't need your shit. Yeah. And then it was like Netflix that single-handedly put them fucks out of business.
Yeah, no, you don't, bitch. Yeah.
And it's like, hey, Pepsi tried to sell to Coke.
Same fucking thing.
And hey, like, somebody's gonna have an idea, and you better be ready to move forward with that shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And but the things that never moves forward is that people are always people, and people are always gonna fucking say dirty shit about your opponents. It doesn't matter if it's sports, but especially in politics. That's all I wanted to swing back around and say is that, like, if somebody's making a character assassination, at least do your due diligence to back it up. Is this person actually a racist? Oh, he's a black guy. Well, do you mean he's racist against white people? Because we know that's not what you mean. So maybe he's not racist against his own fucking people.
Right.
Like, you remember Jonathan Isaac? You remember him, the basketball player that refused to kneel for the anthem?
Yes.
Black guy?
Yep.
He did an interview, and or when he first went out to the media, they're like, do you hate black people? And he's like, no, I'm black.
Yeah. No, I'm right here, bud.
And it just happened to be because he's Christian and he didn't feel like it was right.
Right.
And, like, so the narrative had to be that he's racist. And, like, they were licking their chops for a white guy to do it.
Of course.
But then it was a black guy. So, like, oh, fuck it, let's roll with it anyway. You must hate black people. And he's like, no.
Yeah, I am the black guy, bud.
Yeah, it's so wild to me that their arguments seem so lazy. Like, it doesn't, I don't know, man. I really try to go off actual policy. Like, what is this person? Does he believe in free markets? Does he believe in freedom? Like, even like one of my guys I listen to, Dave Smith, he's a comedian, and he's like the head guy for people to want to run for libertarian for president. Even he said, he goes, freedom's the goal. He's like, if we're libertarians, we should not run libertarians against guys like Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, or even Ron DeSantis. Yeah. He's like, because these guys do good in freedom, and that's the goal.
Yeah.
So why should we take freedom votes away from freedom guys?
Right. It doesn't matter. Yes.
And we can't get the whole Libertarian Party on that because then there's a lot of infighting there.
Of course.
And even, by the way, just to give you a picture of how politics are, even in the Libertarian Party, there are factions. I mean, even my shirt is a Mises Caucus Libertarian Party shirt that I have on.
Bastard.
And it reached
drinks.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So while you're doing that, I'll finish this. So, reach the remnant is actually something Ron Paul said. So even in the Libertarian Party, you have two factions, and basically it's like the right and the left faction of the Libertarian Party. The right faction just won every single in-party election back in May. We had the Libertarian National Convention. Every one of my caucus's guys won. And imagine this, all the lefty libertarians were like, oh, they're a bunch of racists. And it's like, are you for real? Like, that's the best you got? Like, we're just racist like the Democrats call the Republicans? Is this just how politics breaks down in America? Like, if you lose, then the other guys are just racist? Like, and I expected more from libertarians, but even these people were like, oh, they're just a bunch of fucking racists. It's like, oh, that's original. Can't even come up with your own, like, dynamic slur. They're just going to go back to the old one they've been using since Richard Nixon, old Tricky Dick. I don't know. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. Like him or hate that dude. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Like or hate Tricky Dick. He was probably the second best politician in American history next to Ben Franklin. Like, you know, that dude hated fucking country music. Fucking hate. And by the way, whether you like it or hate it.
Of course.
Oh,
go
there we go.
Going for the cup. All right.
All right, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good. Right. But yeah, man. So now here's the brilliant thing. So people forget that
this is sponsored by
Gentleman Jack. Get yourself some.
I was gonna say Josiah Eller.
Oh, well.
He brought it. He's here to party.
I'll tell you, yeah, I'm here to party. So, before I think the 1968 election, the South actually voted Democrat.
I'm a real man.
And here's nice. So, in the 68 election, you had what was that guy's name that said segregation today, tomorrow, and forever?
Oh, fuck.
He was actually running on a third party ticket, and then I can't remember the Democrat, and then of course you had Tricky Dick running on the Republican ticket.
I thought that guy was okay. All right, never mind. Don't want to fuck you.
So so Tricky Dick starts saying I remember he actually campaigned on fucking country music. And this is why politics is kind of stupid and it's all theater. But he would say, I love country music because it's American music.
Fuck yeah.
And dude, you know what? There's truth to that. And even though he hated fucking country music, like these people that talk about the Southern strategy being like, oh, they appeal to all the race. Dude, the guy that said segregation today, tomorrow, and forever was in that election. He had that base covered.
Was there,
I promise you that the actual racists voted for that dude.
Right.
By the way, guy was a Democrat.
Yeah, fuck him.
George Wallace, was that his name? Wallace, I believe. Wallace. His last name was Wallace. It wasn't William Wallace. I know that because that was fucking Braveheart.
No.
But I think it was George Wallace.
Get your ponytail out of the fucking way.
Yeah, but I think it was George Wallace. So the real racists already had people to vote for, and Wallace was a Democrat. There used to be, and he ran on either an independent ticket or some third party ticket. But yeah, the real Southern strategy, and I know, like, if there are people that are watching that know a little bit, they'll say, "Oh, well, I can't remember the guy's name. One of his strategy guys on it, like, said, oh, the Southern strategy was to get racist people to vote."
Oh.
He recanted that on his deathbed, saying he lied, and then even
I actually remember reading about that. Yeah, that was a pretty common thing.
And there are people still alive today that were in Dick's cabinet that say, yeah, that's not true.
Really?
So one guy said it, just one guy, and he recanted saying it, and that's all the left uses to demonize. It's like, look, there was a lot of shit that Dick Nixon did that I didn't like, okay? But he was not a racist.
Right.
By the way, I don't know if they still have the documentary, Tricky Dick and the Man in Black documentary that was done on Netflix. Very good. And it's cool because just because I like politics,
Right.
I Nixon was just such a brilliant. Like I can't stand Obama's policies. He was a brilliant politician.
Dude,
He
for
was
sure, man.
brilliant politician. But
I've been saying that shit for fucking years.
but the reason Nixon was better was the media was against him, and he still was loved by the people.
Right.
Like, he was incredible.
Yeah.
Ben Franklin was probably
I feel
still
like
hands down
Obama's
the
that way.
best. Yeah, but the media fawned over him before he was ever president.
Right. Well, of course. Yeah.
So I mean, he had a lot of help.
He did.
But Nixon was just brilliant.
Dude, that was
But
another
he was
thing.
also very pro-war. Remember, he campaigned
Right.
on bringing
Yeah.
the troops home.
Yep. Yeah.
And I can see both sides. This is one of those wars that my heart's just not settled. Like talking about the Vietnam War, because Nixon, of course, said he was going to bring the troops home, decided not to. And now I love Johnny Cash, man. Just I love his music, but more, I love who he was. I love who he didn't give a shit about anything. It was just,
Right.
I'm going to do what I feel is the right thing.
Yeah. And fuck you.
Yeah, and he went out on, I think it was NBC, and he had a show, and he was going to say that we need to support the president. And NBC said, we can't let you do that because you'll lose half the audience. He
Fuck
said,
him.
he's that basically, he said, I am going to say it, and if you pull my show, so be it.
Right.
And he went out, and by the way, to be fair, he supported the president because he said he was going to bring the troops home.
Yeah.
And then when he went back on his word, Johnny was very outspoken about it. So because he understood, because Dick Nixon understood the power of music and the power of influence in the culture, he invited Johnny Cash to the White House and said, would you play some music for me? I love your music, even though he hated it. So Johnny Cash said he would, and he asked him to play a few specific songs. And of course, the media said, "Oh, he only asked them to do that because they're racist songs."
Yeah, of course.
Which
right.
see, the media's not been. They're a little more open about it now, but
Well,
stupid.
back then, back then, of course not.
But they were not racist songs. I can't remember the song, but they were not racist songs.
Yeah.
Johnny did. I don't believe he played them. And one thing that he asked Johnny to not talk politics. Johnny didn't like being told what to do, and that's what I like. Now here's where I think his heart was in the right place, but I think his head was not. The head and the heart don't always connect.
Sure.
He actually went to Vietnam and spoke with soldiers, and he saw the discouragement on their face.
Yep. Yep.
And when he did this, like Johnny Cash played the White House type of thing, he said, a lot of people ask me if I'm a dove or I'm a hawk. He said, well, he says, I'm a dove with claws or something like that. Like, but he denounced the war.
Yeah.
And it was one of those fuck you moments kind of thing. And it's like, man, the Vietnam War, it's there. Everything can be new. This is so nuanced because what we don't tell people. I'm pretty anti-war, but I will say this: communism is an evil ideology. It starves people to death, and that's all it does. And so our presence there, and for or against the war, this is a fact. When we were there, whether you liked our presence or not, we were pushing back against a communist regime. When we left, what the textbooks don't tell you is 70,000 Vietnamese died fleeing the communist regime that we allowed to stay. They died at sea because they'd rather that than starve to death under a totalitarian regime. And we kept communism at bay in Cambodia next door because once we left, a communist regime took over in Cambodia and then killed 1 million people as soon as they took control.
Sure.
So it's not one of those I'm 100% saying it was the wrong thing. I mean, we definitely fought the war wrong, but communism is such an evil thing. I mean, the Korean War was a success because of 55,000 Americans laid down their life. South Koreans are free,
Right.
and we have LG and Samsung now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love my cell phone.
because I guarantee you that North Korea ain't fucking making anything.
Right. Dude, so when we were talking about this fucking thing, and I'll show you this too.
All right.
So we were talking about the candidates and voting and all that bullshit, and you can pull up you can pull up the
Todd
thing.
Young,
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah, so you can pull up the thing, and I was telling you about how little he put into it when you're talking about this shit. Made me think of it. So it brings up like his experience, right? And like his.
Does it have his voting record on the things he's voted for and against?
No, it doesn't.
That's a shame.
It's a fucking shitter, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what actually matters.
It does.
I don't care what you say.
Let's judge you by your record,
right?
By what you have done.
Yeah, let's talk about this shit. But this dude, and look,
Dude, this dude must have gone off and started beating off because he hasn't commented in a long time.
Well, it might be this. This time's out after a while.
Oh, is there any way to refresh that? Or is that fucking everything up?
Yeah, it's probably gonna.
Nah, I wouldn't worry about it then.
But going off this guy's record, right? So let's take a look at Todd Young. What sucks is, and Todd Young, unfortunately, is one of the ones that I was looking at, and I was going through the records of like, dude, you put no fucking time.
Oh, just pro-life, pro-gun. Didn't even...
Nothing, yeah. And like,
yeah, he's so pro-gun that he voted for red flag gun laws.
But it doesn't say that.
It
says,
doesn't.
It literally says in quotations. Well, I'll fucking... Let's see.
See, because how pro-gun are you? I mean, that's the thing. It's like...
All right, so guns, under guns... You read it.
Let me see it. It says, protect our Second Amendment rights. I guess.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so like, very.
So give me this fucking thing. If you get.
Yeah, because
if you get the other fucking guy, his is like a very thoughtful thing, and not to say that
very thought out.
But not to say that's any better.Maybe that guy's a fucking asshole, and he's.
But here's the thing: it's like because let's say I'm a candidate, right? And now it's refreshed. It's not masturbating. Todd Young sucks. Yes, he does.
Right. So what? Hang on, because I don't want to fucking miss this.
Oh, go ahead.
I really don't.
I hate you.
Yeah, fuck you. So, but if you go to the other guys, it may say. It might be worded better. It doesn't mean they're a fucking better. It means they're a better marketer, but not a better candidate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
But of all fucking things, so you're talking about the Chinese party or whatever.
Yeah.
That affects me in very little ways, if no ways. I mean, I don't know. I talked to the fucking guy that lived there.
Yeah.
I mean, he lived there. Not for like 4 days. He lived there for like 7 fucking years.
Yeah.
He lived there for a long time. I don't give a fuck what they're doing there because it really does not affect me. In some ways, maybe, but for the most
maybe
part,
a little indirectly, but yeah.
For the most part, not really.
Right.
This guy's thing, and this is what pisses me off. And honestly, this is what pushes me to vote the other fucking side. I have grown up my entire life Republican.
Yeah.
Brandon, no gays, guns only, God, glory, and fuck everybody else. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, like I was raised.
I like how your statement was like, no gays, guns only, as if gays can't own guns.
All right. But like, that's
them quarters can't be holding
that's
guns.
Fucking backwoods fucking Indiana. Like that is how it is. And I'm sorry about it, but I'm not that way. I'm just not. But this fucking dude, this is why it just fucking, I don't know. Maybe that's why it irritated me so much. But like every goddamn thing, foreign policy, right? Like I'm looking up that. That's an important
Dude, foreign
thing.
policy is
Pretty solid for
extremely
me.
nuanced. Yeah.
Right. That's a big deal. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm thinking, man, we got this goddamn war in Ukraine. Like, this is a pretty big deal. Where are we at on that? What are we taking for where tax dollars going? Like, are we supporting this? Are we not for this? Where are we at on like Russia's nuclear policy, right? So like, or Iran, or
I was about to say it's Iran's nuclear policy.
I mean, you want to
should
get
be
into Korea,
concerned
like
about.
Korea, things like that. This motherfucker, dude.
Hold on. Hey, this guys, it's time to check election status. Hey, if you can get an update on Carrie Lake, let me know.
All right,
because there was some already shenanigans going on in Arizona.
I want to get back to this.
All right, go ahead. You're right.
So the foreign policy thing, like we've talked about, all these things.
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit.
All shit that's important. Foreign policy, where all like the libertarian, this guy's voting straight Republican. He's got it in the bag. He already fucking knows it. But everybody else is like talking about real important shit.
Yeah.
This guy, foreign policy, holding the Chinese Communist Party accountable. What the fuck does that have to do with me? That don't have a goddamn thing to do with me. I don't give a fuck about the Chinese Communist Party. I mean, I'm sure it's maybe important to a certain.
I mean, I'd say it probably has a little bit more effect than what you realize, but there's just a lot more.
Fucking thing
like
else.
I'm much more concerned about the wars right now.
Right.
Like the 8 wars we're already fucking in.
Right.
Like,
I don't give a fuck. I mean, yes, I should probably care about that. If you want to give like a scale of 1 to 10, well, I've got fucking 4 others that are 7s. That one,
-6.
2 at best. I'll give you 2. That's it. Like, what the fuck?
Where's the thing? And like, even like
and
you
sad
said,
thing
like,
is he's gonna fucking win.
Like I've heard Democrats say that they're for the Second Amendment, but for but we're for common sense gun legislation.
Fuck
like,
you.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, like, if I were running, let me tell you something about what I think about the Second Amendment. Every single gun law on the books is a violation of the Second Amendment.
It is.
If you want to own a bazooka, you should have every fucking right to own a bazooka.
If I can afford the fucking jet and shoot the missiles at your fucking
That's
house,
right.
I should be able to have it.
Yep.
Like,
yeah, I know. Like my, I hate to say this, and I'm not down on my dad, because I said my dad's my hero, but he doesn't. What does it say? Whitmer up 10 points. You have to be fucking kidding me. She like locked her entire state down while she like gardened. Like, dude, if those people vote that bitch in, like, they deserve Joseph Stalin as their governor. Like, I cannot fucking get it. Like, anyway. But
well, let's get it.
But my dad and I had and again, if you disagree on policy, and like, he actually said, and keep in mind, my dad is retired and he sits around and he watches MSNBC. So it's like, what are you feeding yourself?
Right. Yeah.
And like, which only 7% votes in so far. Okay. So my dad says, do you really think that everybody should own an AR-15? I said, absolutely. And he said, Josiah, it is no different than owning a bazooka, which I was like, okay, number 1, not true.
Yeah.
Number 2, you're speaking to a guy who actually thinks bazookas should be legal. Bad argument.
Right.
Like, and of course he's like, give me one good reason why anyone should own an AR-15. I said, protection against government tyranny.
That's it.
And he said, bullshit. And I said, well, not bullshit, because that's exactly what the founders said.
I want it. I'm going to hold it.
Yeah.
American.
Fuck yeah.
I'll let you hold it too.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
And it's just like, look, we have the Federalist Papers, and papers 29 and 46 said so.
We gotta have it.
And oh, here we go.
It's a must-have. We're gonna share this fucking time together, and everybody else can fucking suck it.
We need to caveat this with just make sure that that you have the utmost safety. Make sure your finger is on the trigger at all times while you point it directly at someone's head. That is the safest way to hold a gun, right, Brandon?
I will fire it in my house. All right. This is way gooder.
There you go.
This is how I'm going to set the rest of my night.
I love it.
Good to go. Way better.
Tell us about it.
We're going to flip the sights up. Rear, front. Good to go. Unloaded. This is a dust cover. It will fucking keep the dust out of your shit. Solid gun, man. The sad thing for most people that want these banned is they are
Well, dude.
very, very accessible now. So this gun I built myself.
Well, I was going to ask you. Tell me.
$450.
No shit.
Yeah, and it's a good one actually. So
Tell me about the parts. Where'd you get them? What are the
all right,
brands?
so we got Magpul. Magpul's fucking solid.
Okay.
They're, I'd say probably like, arguably the best parts that you can get that are commercially available.
Okay.
Like easy, you can buy them from the store.
Right.
So like you got your fucking adjustables. Like the stock's good. They're all adjustable, but these have like a nice rubber butt plate, so it doesn't fucking hurt your wussy ass shoulder. The stock is not too shitty, but not great either. But it's cheap and it's accessible.
Okay.
The grip, it's got a little fucking tray in it. You can put batteries in. Not that anyone does that, but it's comfy. The biggest thing I'd say is probably the sides. The sides are pretty solid for flip up sides. They're cheap enough to where most people can buy them. They're like $50 a piece.
Yeah.
Maybe less. But overall, it's a cheap gun. $500 buys this all day long, and
it's a pretty cheap build.
Right. I mean, $500. Like I've got handguns that cost twice to actually, a lot.
Yeah.
I got some money in some handguns, but they cost way more than this, and this would outperform them every day of the fucking week. And then
well, yeah.
And
well, and also
it's crazy because people are trying to ban these, and it's
because they're the favorite self-defense weapon.
Yeah, it's a black gun.
They're racist.
They're racist.
It's that simple.
Yeah. No, it's just a good gun. And
wait, what does it say? Fetterman. Oh, he's whooping. Well, I gotta say that the fact that retard is beating Dr. Oz he's a terrible candidate. I mean, at least people can feel bad because Fetterman had a stroke, so now he's retarded.
They were talking about that on Joe Rogan, and on how
it's
he was a fucking
imagine being beat by a retard. That's how bad Dr. Oz. I could be running right now and be beating Fetterman.
They were saying that he should have been. They're like, well, okay, he had a stroke. He should have been pulled, and then the next guy, should have been put in.
Well, dude, he's so bad that first the media again one of their smear it was you're ableist. You're making fun of him because you're able. But then it's he's so retarded that they were like, well, he has the right to run. Well, okay, just because a retard runs doesn't mean you should fucking vote for him. This is what happens when you're too aligned with a political party. You get a fucking retard that wins an election. And by the way, I mean, in all serious talk, there's nothing wrong with the guy except he had a stroke. And I'm sorry, if you've seen people that had strokes and they can't talk right,
that's what they were saying. So
you shouldn't be running shit.
They actually weren't allowing him to answer some questions.
What does it say? Democrats all winning in where? Nebraska?
Probably, yeah.
Is that? Well, that's the. I mean, let's see.
But what they were saying,
yeah, DeSantis he's gonna beat the dog shit out of. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, so the biggest thing though is that they were not allowing him to read, or I'm sorry, they were not allowing him to answer his own questions. They would ask him a question, he wouldn't answer it. He was reading off a teleprompter, and well, you can't fucking do that. But apparently, I guess he could.
They always run cover for Democrats. The legacy media always.
That was the biggest thing that he can, but it's okay, all right, we'll say we'll allow it. That's fine. But at what point do you want somebody that's going to be in charge of your shit? Let's say what they were saying was, what if he was a fucking pilot? All right. So you got this fucking guy that just had a stroke, and he can't fucking even tell you his own opinion, but he's gonna read off of a teleprompter. Let's have him run this.
Well, dude, we already have
If you were
Biden
on
running
a-
the country, so it's not like
Yeah,
you can.
but like, if you were on a goddamn plane, you'd be like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm not gonna fly on this plane because this guy can't fucking read.
Who's this fat fuck? I don't know who that is.
Pritzker.
Pritzker. Who's
That's
he?
Illinois.
Oh, fuck. Like
JB Pritzker.
like Illinois is good. What I'm interested in, New York's.
You don't know JB Pritzker?
Well, I just don't
Have
pay
you been
attention to
hiding under a
Illinois because
fucking
they're
rock?
never going to get a Republican in there.
Oh yeah, no. No.
Like
JB
New
Pritzker's-
York's governor race is really close. Like the fact that the
JB Pritzker's the worst though, dude. Bad.
well, dude, if he's running that shit show,
Bad.
I mean, like, dude, Chicago's so bad that
Oh.
like they offered the Chicago Bears money to stay in Chicago. Like Lori Lightfoot was like, "We'll give you all this money," and the Bears were like, "Nah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're out."
Right. No shit.
It's like, bitch, we don't want criminals like running
Right.
rampant
No.
at our games. So
Yeah, we're
like,
good.
have fun with your like experiment.
I'm waiting to
so-
see the comments on this. JB Pritzker, comment those. Well, let's talk about him because
Well, it's too. I don't know anything about him, honestly.
oh man,
I just don't pay attention to Illinois because the Republicans never going to win it.
all right, and I get it. I'm not trying to,
No,
Maybe.
go ahead. Like, tell me about him.
but man, dude, it's like I know people that have like cleaned his house.
Yeah.
Like-
Okay.
I mean, closest. I can't believe you've never even fucking heard of him. He's like a fucking dude. He's like the AOC of fucking Illinois.
Oh fuck.
Bad, dude. Bad. I mean, just fucking brutal. And like, we're talking fucking. This guy is so delusional, and then we'll take credit for the shit that don't have nothing. Don't have nothing to do with it. And it's the same thing as AOC.
Dude, speaking of AOC, and this guy
See
may
the-
know because he's a
I'm
Matt
gonna cut
Walsh
you. I'm gonna
fan.
I'm gonna cut
Okay,
you off.
Okay.
Just because I don't want to forget it. Did you see the fucking thing with Twitter Daddy?
Oh yeah.
Did
Oh dude.
you see the thing? Give me my $8.
Oh yeah, dude. There's already shirts out that say something like, I heard your complaint. Now pay your $8.
Dude, I fucking love that shit.
Oh, yeah,
I
dude.
absolutely
Dude,
fucking love it.
What Elon understands is social media.
Right.
Like he's kind of a weird dude in real
But
life,
fucking
but he
funny.
fucking gets it, dude.
Got it. Got it.
Like because like
Let the sink in. Fuck you, not funny. When he does it, fucking hilarious.
oh dude, like my 16-year-old son is like he like loves getting on subreddits,
yeah.
and he like gets in these like he tries to get serious about like horror movie theory and all this, and I'm like, Lex, it is not. It's just a bad idea to try to have serious conversation. Like if it happens naturally,
You're
fine.
right.
But the fact is,
These guys are
like
idiots.
online, just troll the fuck out of them.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
like just put a fucking penis meme up and move on.
And
Like
fuck
there
'em.
is no,
Yeah.
like, dude, I have a meme for almost every situation, and it's just like all I do is troll on Twitter. That's all I do.
Right.
Like it is not a place for civil discourse. It's just not. It is a wasteland.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to go where the pigs roll in the mud, I'm going to roll in the mud.
Right.
And I'm going to do it better. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
It's so like Elon gets it, man. He is fucking
so
on
fucking
it,
funny
dude.
though. That shit, AOC. Oh my god.
Oh.
Yeah. Give me my $8, bitch, and get the fuck out of here.
Dude, you know she owns a Tesla, right?
Yeah. That was another thing.
that's
They were
great.
saying like, hey, why don't you get out of my car?
So
give me my money.
listen to this shit. So AOC, like, because it's popular to be a victim in our culture,
Of course.
AOC made it like when that hurricane hit Puerto Rico,
Oh right.
she talked about like her grandma or her abuela,
Oh.
like how she had no home, and because Donald Trump like didn't send any aid, her abuela was struggling. So everyone at
Of
the
course.
everyone at the Daily Wire, because they were like, well, she owns a Tesla, like you're gonna tell me that she doesn't have the money to like help
Right.
her
You got an
abuela?
$80,000 car.
Like, why
you
is
got
your
it.
grandma like homeless when you have like an $80,000 car? So what the Daily Wire did was they put a GoFundMe out for her abuela, and all like Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh,
Oh, no.
Andrew Clavin, Michael Knowles, all like Jeremy Boring, all these guys gave the monthly payment for a Tesla,
Yeah.
and they raised all this money for all from
And
conservatives.
you're talking some fuck you money at that point.
Yeah, I mean, they raised a ton of money,
Right.
and they were like, we legitimately want to help. And the GoFundMe was shut down. When they called, they just said something to like, the money was rejected, so we have to give it back.
Oh.
And they
she
were
got
like,
fucked on her own plan.
so basically what's going on, she's lying for sympathy.
Yep.
And then when they were like, oh, well, let us help.
She got fucked.
Yep.
Yep. Makes sense.
And it's just like, see, that's the thing, is like, you can make any claim, but you gotta look into that shit.
Damn. Yeah, man. Just fucking. It's fucking silly. It is. It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah, people in New York. I mean, well, you have to figure, like, a lot of the people from New York either moved to Texas or Florida so they could live their lives during COVID. And so the people who are left over, they are really, like, my main man Dave Smith lives there, and he was like, hey, they treated me as a second-class citizen. I'm not exactly sure why he still lives there, but he does, and he's a libertarian. But
I've been wanting to go there.
New York,
Yeah.
after what they did, I think they can fuck themselves.
I really.
Like,
I'm dying to go. Honestly, I want to see it, man.
I've been to the airport. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to see it. Let's see what this fucking Big Apple's all about.
Have they banned you yet for a lot of this shit, or just curious?
They
They probably already fucking took you off.
dude. So I got popped the other day. First time ever. Actually.
Yeah. Oh no kidding.
I got popped because a buddy of mine, who was my size, smaller feller,
Yeah.
got fucking jacked. Dude,
Okay.
guy looked good as fuck. And I don't even
Good
know
for him.
Yeah, and I don't know him that well. I really don't. I didn't go to school with him,
Oh
but
fuck! You told me about this. This is funny.
the Bobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't even know this fucking guy. And he looks good now, and yeah, hey, nice Bob, send me pics. Fucking got.
What gets me is that means someone first reported it,
And I fucking,
which I thought.
I disputed it. I'm like, okay, motherfuckers.
Like,
Yeah, I
yeah,
put
that's-
nice Bobs, show me tits or something like that. I didn't even say that. It was like nice Bobs, you look good or some shit. Wasn't even boobs. This is like me mocking, for those of you that are illiterate, this is me mocking these fucking Indian bastards that send this shit all the fucking time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just fucking with this guy. So I get popped on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna dispute it. And one of the options to dispute was like, okay, that's not what I said, or whatever, taken out of context. One of them was like, you didn't understand the context of my comment, which I'm like, okay, that is definitely it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm a guy sending another man.
Yeah.
Send me your Bobs. Not even fucking send me your big fat sausage titties. Like, send me your Bobs. I'm clearly fucking with him. And it's like 2 days later, rejected. And then I got double fucked. They banned me even longer. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even give a fuck, dude. You know what? Instagram's paying me $35 a post. Fuck you guys. Give me my money somewhere else. You guys can go fuck off.
Yeah, dude. Like
It's the same company. Like, what are you doing? Silly.
Beto is actually doing that well. That sucks.
It's fucking terrible, man. If those motherfuckers can give me $35 a post, imagine how much money they're dishing out. I mean, it's got to be a lot. $35 for me? Like, dude, I'm nothing, and they have got, if they're doing it for me, they got to be doing it for a fucking million other motherfuckers. But $35 a post, dude, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I'd be posting a lot.
Yeah, I am. And I know that it's like they're trying to get, well, I say $35 a post. It is, but it's really $35 a short.
Well, yeah, the
They're
videos.
trying to
Yeah.
get that shit away from TikTok. They're fucking scared, dude. TikTok's getting that money.
Well, I mean, TikTok is a brilliant idea with like the short
It's
videos.
fucking awful. I can't take a shit without sitting there for an hour.
Oh, dude. Well, actually really like the Reddit posts, like when they read the Reddit posts.
Oh yeah,
I love those.
yeah, dude. I
So
sit on the fucking shitter, and it's like if TikTok comes up, I'm going for
you're
an
there.
hour.
You're
Yeah, I'm going
that's
for
your
an hour.
home base.
Right. So like, okay, if fucking Instagram wants to pay the money, I get it. They'll probably get it back. I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess if I have one last thing to say, I just think that we should all be skeptical of government because I think if you do a very, very minuscule study of human history, you will realize that governments have slaughtered a lot more people than anyone else.
Ever.
The
Actually, they're the only ones.
governments do not generally care about people. They care about power. Um, and so I'm just skeptical when the government wants to do anything. And I think that's a good starting place is that we should be skeptical of our own government.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And I would also say that what is the fucking term that strong men make?
Oh, yeah. You're talking about the
Yes, you already know it.
strong men make good times make weak men,
Yep, weak men
make
fucking
bad times,
and bad times make strong
make,
men.
yeah.
And it
Well, actually, let me, there's actually not only truth to that, there's what's called the Tytler cycle. Have you heard of that?
no, I haven't.
Okay, so a guy around the 1780s. Where is this? Hold on, just give me just a second here. Yeah, figures. Let me just throw up images because there's like, here it is. So in the 1780s, a Scottish historian, I'm sure and somewhat inspired by the American Revolution, this guy Tytler decided he wanted to study free nations and figure out what happens. Well, he found a pattern, and human beings are not generally hard to figure out. Every human, even though we're all unique, we all have our own story. We all have patterns, and even societies have their own patterns. The Tytler cycle discovered this that it usually starts with faith, which leads to courage, which leads to liberty. Liberty leads to abundance. Abundance leads to selfishness. Selfishness leads to complacency, which
There
leads
it
to
is.
apathy,
That's where we are.
which leads to dependence,
Oh,
which leads to bondage.
dammer.
We will eventually put ourselves back in chains.
Right.
Um, and so that's it. I just thought that was interesting. See, they just skipped Arizona. Well, that probably means Lake is up if they skipped Arizona. Because I don't know what channel you're watching, but even remember Fox News gave Arizona to Biden long before any other network. And I don't know if you're familiar with Steven Crowder. He thought that Fox News fired him because he was too conservative.
All right.
So
Well, let's wrap this fucking podcast up.
put a fucking bow on it, dog.
Put a bow on it. I think what we need to do is fucking. We're gonna end this one. This will be the podcast that goes on Spotify and iTunes and all that shit, and we'll
Alright.
still go live when we can talk to these fucks. You good?
Yeah.
All right. We're out, but we'll be back in 2 minutes. I appreciate you guys. I love all you.
Hey, Michael, thanks for all your comments, man. I'm glad somebody did.
Yeah. We'll be right back right after this. Yeah, this will be like the professional one because we didn't fuck up yet. and